This is a story of future where tracking criminals and delivering justice is no longer in human hands. It's controlled entirely by artificial intelligence. Then a detective is framed for someone murder and given only 90 minutes to prove his innocence before a ruthless AI judge decides his fate. The story begins in Los Angeles, a city drowning in crime. Violence has risen so sharply that prisons are overflowing with dangerous offenders. Despite constant police patrols and emergency measures, the situation keeps getting worse. With no other option left, the government activates the Mercy Code. Under this program, an advanced artificial intelligence system is appointed as the judge. It analyzes solid evidence, reviews cases, and delivers verdicts within hours. In just 2 years, this AI has sentenced 18 people to death. The fear of its swift and ruthless justice causes the crime rate to drop dramatically. And for the first time in years, the city begins to feel peaceful again. In next scene, we see a man is strapped to a metal chair at the center of the courtroom. His name is Chris Raven, a detective. Suddenly, a large screen flickers to life. An AI judge appears on the screen and calmly announces, "This is the Mercy Capital Court, and you have been framed for murder of your wife, Nicole." He has only 90 minutes to prove his innocence before the AI delivers its final judgment. And in this court, once the verdict is given, there is no appeal. But Chris doesn't believe it. Then AI judge shows him body cam footage of police. When officers entering a house, they found Chris's wife is lying on the floor, covered in blood. Next to her, their daughter Britt is crying loudly. Nicole has been stabbed with knife. When a police officer asks Nicole, "Who did this to you?" Nicole told Chris' name. Chris gets scared on hearing his name. His face turns pale. AI judge tells him that when Nicole was murdered, he was alone in the house, and there had been arguments between the two of them for a long time. Therefore, all suspicion falls on him. But Chris believes the AI is lying. So he searches on the internet, where he sees news about himself everywhere. Everyone is talking about him and Mercy. Actually, Chris himself is a detective. Along with his partner, he had arrested a criminal named David and initiated this Mercy court system. And now he himself is standing trial in that same court. However, Chris insists that he is innocent. He says he did nothing. The AI judge tells him that his DNA and fingerprints were found on the scene. And based on all this evidence, the probability of him being guilty is 97.5%. He must reduce it below 92% in order to avoid the death penalty. He has 90 minutes to prove himself innocent and save his life. To prove his innocence, he can use all the information available in the Los Angeles Municipal Cloud. In the city, there is a rule that every person must connect their devices to the municipal cloud. If Chris fails to prove himself, the electric chair will execute him. The countdown begins, and Chris reviews all the evidence. It shows that he left for the office in the morning, but returned home midway. However, Nicole refused to open the door. An argument broke out between them, and in anger, Chris used a second key to unlock the gate and forcibly entered the house. The AI tells Chris that he killed his wife and then went out drinking to a bar, from where the police arrested him. When forensic investigations were conducted, fresh bloodstains were also found on his clothes. Although Chris remembers nothing about the murder, the AI suggests that perhaps he cannot recall anything because of the alcohol. At that moment, Chris says that he wants to speak to his daughter. The AI informs him that minors cannot be involved in the trial without being officially called. For now, she is living with her maternal grandparents. However, the rules also say that if the deceased has any relatives, a call request can be sent to them. Chris tries to think of some words, but he doesn't understand what he should say. So the AI automatically sends the request itself. The court rules also state that the accused can speak with his sponsor. So Chris calls to a man named Robert Nelson. In that conversation, Nelson confirms that Chris had been drinking and even scolds him, asking why he didn't call when he felt like drinking. Robert Nelson works with Nicole, and when she didn't show up for her shift, he called the police. The AI also displays details about his personal life that Chris and Nicole started dating 20 years ago, got married 3 years later, and a year after that, their daughter Britt was born. Their home life was stable until Chris lost his detective partner while on duty, and that is when he started drinking. Gradually, fights and arguments began breaking out at home, and their relationship got so bad that Nicole began talking about getting a divorce. Here we found from the messages she sent to her family and friends, Chris now gets angry at every little thing. Then AI shows another video in which Britt is seen talking to a boy Chris doesn't know because his daughter had two social media accounts and Chris was only aware of one of them. At that moment, Britt accepts a call from Chris, the same call that Chris had the AI judge send a little while earlier. Chris reassures him, saying, "I didn't kill your mom. It's a big misunderstanding. Why I would kill her? I used to love her." Right then, Britt's grandfather cuts the call, which makes Chris furious. Chris starts yelling. The AI judge reminds Chris that he only has 1 hour and 8 minutes left. Whatever needs to be done, do it quickly. So Chris calls his partner Jack, who is working at the crime scene. When Chris carefully examines the crime scene, he sees in the living room, there is a broken vase lying on the floor, which was probably shattered during a fight with Killer. In the kitchen, Britt's footprints and bloodstains on the wall are found. There is also a knife used to murder Nicole, and Chris's fingerprints are found on it. Several other evidence are discovered as well, all of which completely match Chris. After this, Chris checks Nicole's phone calls because he remembers that after their argument, she had sent a message. However, no message is found on Chris' phone. So Chris asks about a second phone, but the AI has no information about any other phone. So she takes the number from Chris's phone and calls Nicole's second phone. At that moment, they find the second phone in a car outside the house. When the AI checks it, she found that the phone was bought from the black market, so it is not registered on the municipal cloud. From this second phone, only one call had been made, and that too to a black market number. When the AI calls that number, as soon as he hears the AI's voice, the person on the other end immediately disconnects the call. However, in that brief moment, the AI judge successfully tracks the number's location. Detective Jack immediately heads there on her flying bike and reaches the location, where a man tries to run away from backside of hotel. His name is Patrick. He is a chef who has already been investigated twice for social security fraud. As soon as he sees the police, he starts running. Jack, along with two other officers, chases him. After a lot of struggle, the police finally catch him. Patrick insists that he has done nothing wrong and says he ran only because he was afraid that Nicole's accusation might fall on him. Chris asks him what Nicole was doing with a man like him. Patrick replies that he gave Nicole the happiness that Chris could not. He also admits that he flirted with Nicole once or twice, and since she liked the food he cooked, they used to meet. But he firmly denies killing her, saying that he was at work the entire day. Then AI checks the time of Nicole's murder and matches it with Patrick's work schedule. It finds that Patrick was indeed at work at the time of the murder. Therefore, Patrick cannot be the killer. Even so, Jack had Patrick arrested for running from the police. Now only 53 minutes are left, and guilty percentage has increased because Patrick turned out not to be the culprit. Chris then explains that after Ray's death, he started drinking because the court released the person who killed Ray. Today, Nicole found his liquor bottle, which he used to hide in the car. Nicole threw it into the dustbin. When he couldn't find the bottle, he went back home, where the two of them started arguing. In anger, he broke her favorite vase. Maybe some pieces of the broken glass pierced Nicole, and that's how her blood got on his clothes. After that, he remembers nothing, how the next moment he found himself tied to a chair in Mercy Court. Chris starts wondering if perhaps he really did kill Nicole. The AI judge tells him that if he confesses to the crime, the court will immediately announce the punishment, and everything will be over. But he still has time and all the evidence, so he should investigate everything again. So Chris calls Patrick again and asks if Nicole had any problems. Patrick tells him she was stressed about her office. She had been spying on people at work because thousands of dollars worth of chemicals were going missing from her company every month. Chris thinks that maybe someone from Nicole's office was responsible. But AI says those people haven't been seen in the neighborhood since Sunday because there was a barbecue that day. Chris then sends Jack to Nicole's workplace. While waiting, Chris checks the neighbor's camera footage, but due to internet issues, the footage is still downloading. Further on, Chris asks for the video of the people who arrived at the barbecue by car and sees that there were 3 other people in Rob's car. Chris calls Rob and asks whom he gave a ride. Rob tells him the names of the 3 people. Now Chris watches Britt's video from last night again, Britt recorded inside her house. That's when Chris notices that the basement door is open, a door they never open. Chris asks the AI to enhance the image, and he sees a man's hand. Chris understands that the killer did not go home after the party, but instead hid in their basement for 2 days. To find the killer, Chris checks the emails and several files from Nicole's company. He discovers that the missing chemical is urea, which is used to make beauty products and drugs, and is very valuable in the market. The thief has been tampering with the stock records to hide the truth about the chemicals. When Chris checks Nicole's email, he finds an email from a man named Holt that then AI review company cameras and discovers that Nicole is arguing with Holt. Holt tells Nicole not to go to the police and asks him to give him a few more days, promising that he will fix everything. But Nicole refuses because if she hides the truth, she could lose his job. In anger, Holt throws his belongings around. After reviewing Holt's emails, Chris discovers that Holt is addicted to gambling. His bank balance is empty, and he is buried in debt. Robert has even helped him financially once or twice. Because of this, both Chris and the AI begin to suspect that Holt is the one who killed Nicole. Then Chris calls Rob, asking him to keep Holt there. But instead of Robert, Holt answers the phone. Chris threatens, saying, "We know you're selling chemicals, and Nicole found out the truth about you. That's why you killed her. Now the police are coming to arrest you." But Holt reveals that it was actually Rob who was stealing the chemicals. Since Rob had helped Holt financially, Holt didn't tell anyone. When Chris asks about Rob, where is he? Holt tells him that Rob had been on leave since Sunday. He was last seen at the party at your house. But this morning, he came, took a company truck, and drove away. The AI judge immediately tracks the company truck and reports that its location is Robert's house. Chris tells Jack to go to Rob's house and warns him that Robert might have a gun, so he should be careful. At the same time, the neighbor's footage finally gets downloaded. It reveals that Robert was hiding in a car, and from there he went to Nicole's house. Now only 19 minutes are left, so Chris immediately informs the police department of all the details and tells them to head to Robert's house. Jack and his team surround Robert's house and break in, but they can't find him anywhere. Chris notices that there is no truck outside, which makes him realize that Robert removed the tracker from the truck and has fled from the house. The AI checks the city cameras, but the truck's number plate is not visible in any of the footage because he removed the license plate as well, making it difficult to track him. So Chris tells Jack to send out a citywide alert for the Viking shipping truck. Meanwhile, the police show Chris a torn photograph of Robert, in which only the hand of another boy can be seen. In fact, Robert grew up in an orphanage, and due to a data hack, it will take time to retrieve his complete records. In the garage, the police find chemicals and burned evidence, along with a handbook. This proves that Robert was not selling the chemicals. He was mixing them to make explosives. He had been planning all of this offline for a long time. All the departments and police officers go on high alert. Just then, a drone camera captures the truck speeding down the road toward the city. At the same time, the AI finds the remaining part of Robert's old photograph, revealing that the other boy is David, the first criminal convicted in Mercy Court, who was sentenced to death. David and Robert were brothers. Someone adopted Robert when he was young, but no one adopted David, and he grew up wandering on his own. Now Chris understands that Robert only became his friend after David's death, meaning it was all part of Robert's plan. In reality, Robert wants revenge for his brother's execution, and he was the one who killed Nicole. That's why he intends to blow up Mercy Court with a bomb. And that is where he is heading now. Just then, a drone comes closer. When it reaches the truck, they see that Robert is driving. There is someone sitting beside him whom he is talking to, but the other person's face is not visible. Suspicious, Chris calls Britt, but her grandfather answers the phone. He says that Britt has gone out. Chris then checks the security cameras at his in-laws' house and discovers that Ron has kidnapped Britt. At the same time, the police spot a timer bomb in Robert's garage, and it is about to explode. Everyone immediately starts running, but some officers remain inside, and before they can escape, the explosion occurs, killing several police officers. Then they realize that this was only a small amount of explosive material in the garage. Most of the explosives are in the truck. If it explodes, the entire city could be destroyed. At this point, Chris's crime is completely cleared. Jack calls Chris and tells him that she is safe and ready to go after the truck. The AI judge wants to stop the trial, but Chris refuses because he wants to maintain access to every system in order to stop Robert. The AI repeatedly warns him to stand up before the time runs out. Otherwise, the chair will kill him. Chris then convinces the AI that together they can save the city, so the AI agrees to continue the trial. Meanwhile, the entire police force begins chasing the truck. However, Robert crashes into them and speeds into the city, making it very difficult to stop him. When the truck reaches the bridge, Jack is about to destroy truck with a robotic bomb because he has no other choice left. But Chris reminds him that his daughter is also inside the truck. He requests the AI to stop them. And just then a remote-controlled car carrying a bomb passes underneath the truck, but it doesn't explode. Chris thinks maybe the AI has cut off their connection, but there is no response from AI. Now only a few minutes are left, so the AI sends an alert to evacuate Mercy Court. Chris tells Jack to fly in front of the truck because he wants to talk to Robert. He sees Britt crying for help. However, Robert says that David was innocent. He had done nothing wrong. But just as he is about to say more, Jack shoots at him to stop him. The AI judge then knocks Jack off her bike, and then the truck crashes into the court building. In the hall, Robert uses Britt as a shield and starts firing at all the guards. Meanwhile, Chris's time is about to run out and Chair begins preparing to execute him. Chris tells AI to end the case, but there is no response because the power has gone out and the system is running on backup battery. Only 10 seconds remain, and Chris repeatedly screams for help. Suddenly AI comes back online and stops the trial just in time. After that, Chris runs down to the hall and tries to calm Rob down. But Rob, furious and about to blow up the entire building, but then AI judge appears on the screen and gives him a chance to clear his brother's name. Rob tells the judge that at the time of the murder, he was on the phone with David. His brother had not killed anyone. However, the judge responds that when David was caught near the body, he did not have any phone with him. While Rob is distracted talking to the judge, Britt bites his hand and frees herself. Seeing the opportunity, Chris immediately attacks Rob, deactivates his detonator, and snatches the gun from his hand and points it at him. In anger, Chris is about to kill him. Suddenly, Jack shoots Rob, but Chris stops her, telling her not to kill Rob. Then Rob reveals that he had spoken to a woman at the police station to testify for his brother, and that woman had the phone. AI quickly checks Jack's call history and discovers that it was Jack who had spoken to Rob at that time. She had taken the phone from the evidence room and thrown it into the river, which means David was innocent. Jack had framed him. Jack finally confesses that she did all this because she believed the city needed Mercy Court, so people would stay safe and criminals would fear mercy. Now that Jack is guilty, Chris tells the other officers to arrest her. After that, Chris runs to reunite with Britt. AI realizes that she made a mistake by killing an innocent man